Hi there, and welcome back to episode number 18 of Silk Over Still TV. So excited to be back and to be talking with you about business and leadership. The whole point of Silk Over Still TV is to equip women to build spirit-filled businesses they love and to lead with kingdom purpose. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the real deal, nitty-gritty truth about working from home. I know everybody makes it seem super glamorous and they make it seem like it's easy peasy and such a breeze and, you know, life is just grand when you work from home. And the truth is, there's some real deal nitty-gritty stuff we've got to talk about, especially if you're currently working from home and maybe you're experiencing some different issues. And so we're going to talk about those. And if you're looking to start working from home and starting your business and you want to operate it from your home, then we also need to talk about and kind of get you prepared. Don't get me wrong. I love working from home. There are some major advantages, just simply merely being in the comfort of my home, having that midday brownie break, and, being around my kids and my husband can call at any point in time during the day, and I don't have to worry about a boss getting upset because my husband is calling just to encourage me or to say I love you or ask me what I need or whatever the case might be. And I homeschool my kids during the day, so of course, there's that extra layer of being able to be home with my kids, which is really a dream for me. And maybe it's also a dream for you. But I want to talk about some of this real deal nitty-gritty stuff that nobody really talks about working from home. I actually had my very first work at home experience back when I was a college student. I went to and graduated from North Carolina A&T State University. Let me get this in, Aggie Pride. And one of my professors, my freshman professor, Miss King, I had the opportunity to actually do a co-op with her my sophomore year. And she was one of 5 female Black architects in the state of North Carolina at the time, or maybe 3, either way, a small number, and she ran her business from home. Now, let me tell you, back in those days, and I'm making myself sound a little bit old, but this was back in 1999, 2000. Working from home was not as popular, and it was kind of taboo. People had this idea about people who work from home, especially, women. You're sitting at home in your rollers and your bedroom slippers, and you just, you got coffee in one hand and a glass of wine in the other, and you're flipping the TV channels and watching the soap operas and eating bonbons and kind of doing some work. And so it was kind of taboo at that time. Now it's so much more accepted. I mean, there are major corporations that actually have people who work from home. They work remotely, and the company, gives them computers and laptops and all the equipment and things that they need. So it's certainly much more accepted now. But back then it wasn't. One of the major advantages I have is that I had the chance to see the ins and outs of business and working from home. She was a single mother and she had a son. So she had one child, she had a son, and she ran her entire architecture practice from her home. And so that was such golden nuggets of opportunity for me to learn. And at the time I didn't even realize what I was experiencing and how it would impact me now as I'm a mother and I'm a wife, and I run my business from home, and so many of the things that I learned from her then, I apply now in my business, and I want to share those with you. So the number one thing is that Miss King always taught me was to be professional and to walk in excellence. So Professionalism and excellence was not an option when I worked with Miss King. And what I mean by that was, if it wasn't professional and if it wasn't done with excellence, we weren't doing it, or it wasn't acceptable and it wasn't okay. And so part of that was, you know, dressing professionally, even though you work at home, you know, putting on your best. And not that you're getting up and you're going out for a hot date, but making sure that you are dressing professionally. Think in your mind, what would I do if I had my own business, but I had a storefront, or I rented a building, where I rented some office space, you know, in a corporate facility of some kind? How would I run my business if I wasn't working from home and I had a storefront someplace? Well, I would come and I would be dressed professionally. I would put my makeup on, you know, at least decent daytime makeup, not the whole glammed up stuff, but you know, the daytime makeup. I would be professional. I would handle my customers and my clients professionally. I would do what I needed to do to eliminate distractions. So when you're working from home, one of the biggest distractions you've got to eliminate, number one, is social media. It is so easy to get caught up in social media. The other thing is TV, excess radio, being on your cell phone, texting and whatnot. One of the things that I do is actually on my phone, I turn off all notifications. I get nothing except for text messages and like alarms. But any other notification, email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, none of it. I turn it all off. It just doesn't come on. I don't get any notifications, so I physically have to go into the app, which for me is a reminder anytime I'm having to go in. It's like, okay, why am I in here? What am I doing? Is it business related? No, get off. So one of the things that you have to do is, you know, making sure that you're dressing professionally. And what I mean by that is you don't have to, like, again, you know, put on a 3-piece suit, but you don't want to be in your pajamas all day either during your business hours. And I know it's so comfortable and it's so convenient, but you know, people tend to perform how they dress. There is a psychology to dress. Putting on your makeup and looking your best. When you look your best, you do your best. Eliminating those distractions as much as humanly possible, and treat your business like a business, and as if you were a CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation, and your business will begin to pay you like that. Think of it as seeds that you're sowing along the way, and those seeds will reap a harvest, okay? So number two, the second thing is have a dedicated workspace. It can be an office, it can be a corner, it could be a card table like Dave Ramsey, but one of the things that Miss King had, she had a dedicated workspace. She had an office in her home. As soon as you walked in, there was an office here to the left, and she had an office, and we could close the doors if we needed to close the doors. If we needed privacy to work, she could close the doors at night after her office hours were over. She could close the doors at night so she didn't have to look into the office and the office be calling her. And inside of that office was all of our office equipment and computers and printers and plotters and telephone and fax machines. We don't do faxes anymore now, but we had everything that we needed in that office to work. And so you need a dedicated office or a dedicated space to work. And like I said, it could be an office, it could be a corner in your room, in your living room. It could be your dining room table. Like I said, Dave Ramsey started his business on a card table in his living room. So you can start a business anywhere. The other important piece about having this dedicated workspace is that you begin to teach your family to respect your space. My kids tend to like to go into mommy's things. My daughter likes to go in my jewelry and my makeup and my lipstick and everything, hair products, the whole nine. My boys like to go into some of my things, not those items, but like my pens and my, you know, any kind of office supplies that I have. But my work bag, I've noticed something. My work bag, my laptop, my anything that I use for my office or for my business, they tend to respect that differently. I don't have a dedicated room, but I have a dedicated corner where I work, and my office supplies and things are on there. And so while they might go on that desk of mine and they'll pull out my pens and they might pull out scissors, they don't really mess with my work bag. So when I have client meetings, I usually leave the home and have those meetings outside of the home, or I go to work remotely at a coffee shop or something. They don't mess with my work bag. They tend to not really mess with my laptop. Anything that's kind of like mommy's work business stuff, it's like off limits. And it took some coaxing and it took some training, but it does teach your family to respect your space. The other thing is it helps you to stay focused when you know you have a corner or an office or a desk or any place to work. The thing is, it puts you in the mindset that this is real. This is a real business. And it forces you to kind of focus in and really get into that mindset that I'm a business owner and I run a business. The last thing that you really want to do is you want to set regular business hours. What this allows you to do is to have a sense of professional accountability with your clients, with your family, and really most importantly with yourself. What I mean by that is, so Ms. King, she had business hours, and so she opened up her business at a certain time. Of course, she had to get up in the morning and get her son off to school and make sure he had breakfast and lunch and his homework was complete and all that stuff. And then after he left, she would start, her day, her business day. And then when business hours were over, a lot of times, again, like I said before, she'd close those doors and she would walk away from it. Now, there were times when sometimes we were round the clock working because we had a proposal to get out, or we had some floor plans we needed to get to a client, or preparing for a conference, whatever. So there were times where we didn't adhere to business hours. And with any business that you're in, whether you are the owner of the business or an employee, there's going to be some times where you work overtime, and so that's expected. But have business hours. It forces you to have this sense of accountability, professional accountability to yourself, to your clients, and to your family. And the piece about your family is then your family knows when to expect mom to be working and when to expect mom not to be working. Now, for most of us, myself included, we run our businesses on the margins of our lives. So that's early in the morning or sometime in the evening, late at night, because the middle of our day is consumed with other life things, whether you work outside the home or you work from home and you're also starting a business. I homeschool during the day, so there's not much time to do business stuff during that chunk of time. So we run our business on the margins of our lives. And so your family needs to know and understand when you're going to be working on your business. So again, that respect factor comes into place. It also helps to set boundaries, which goes into that respect factor. It sets boundaries for you, it sets boundaries for your clients, and it sets boundaries for your family so that everybody's on one page and they know when to expect you to work, when to expect you to answer emails or to receive phone calls, that sort of thing. All of those things are very, very important when you're running a business, because if you don't have some boundaries in place, things will just start to bleed out, and we don't want that happening. And the final thing that having office hours allows you to do, it forces you to a place of higher level productivity. Again, for those of us that are running our businesses on the margins of our lives, if I know I've got 1 hour in the morning and I have 2 hours in the evening to run my business, that's 3 hours all day. That means I don't have time to play. When I show up to work and to do my business, I've got to sit down. I need to have my task list out, and I need to be working. The same is true for you. You don't have time to play, especially with the margins of your lives. You can't be up 25/8 running your business. And so you have to focus and you have to concentrate so you can get the most out of that time that you have. So I hope these 3 tips were really, really helpful to you. Number 1, you should be working with professionalism and excellence. Number 2, you need to have a dedicated workspace. And number 3, you need to set office hours. Again, I think working from home is incredible. It's certainly a privilege, and it's something that I don't want you to take for granted, and I don't want you to have in your mind that it's going to be super easy. But hopefully with these 3 tips that I've given you, they can help you work at home more efficiently. If you're currently working at home with your business, or if you're looking to run your business from home, they've given you some things to think about as you start making those moves and preparing the way for you to be able to do that. So look, I have a question for you. I'd like to know this. What is one real deal nitty-gritty truth you learned about working from home? Whether it's been from personal experience because you currently work from home yourself, or something that you recently learned and kind of had an aha moment about. I'd love to hear back from you in the comments, so comment below, and I'll see you on the next video. And remember this, dance with a king. Bye.